Right. I am here today with Catherine Foxx. You may know her from her many fetish sites. I can't even name them all.
Well, the main one that I do all my custom work through is foxofficeproductions.com, and you can find all my links to all my different variety of fetish sites that we do here at the Fox office.
Indeed. And I think what most people kind of want to know is, how did you get into this kind of work? It's like you just wake up one day, it's like, I'm going to wedgie people and lick feet.
I'm going to wedgie people and lick feet. No, that's not how it happens at all. It was actually really random. I had a girlfriend that I just had started a relationship with, and she had, I guess, met this guy that did some nude photography of her and would set her up basically with other girls to do like lesbian-esque type pictures, and he would pay her. So she told me about this, and I was astonished. I was literally like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, and I'd done some modeling like when I was younger, and I did pageants and stuff like that, but nothing of any sort of adult modeling or anything like that. But she told me that I was little, woo, and she showed me some pictures, and I was like, oh, that's really hot. Well, then, like, you know, we're in our relationship maybe a month 2, and she comes home from school because she was in college and I was done. She comes home and she goes, hey, so-and-so called, the photographer guy that she had worked with a couple times. And, well, she said a couple times, it was like 14. I didn't know the regularity of that, but she goes, so-and-so called and wants to know if I want to shoot tonight. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, of course, immediately I go into like weird girlfriend mode where, like, are you sure it's okay? He's going to hook you up with, you know? And she goes, oh, well, do you want to come along? He said, you know, he'll shoot you too. And I was like, oh. My first shoot is a nude shoot. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what, I was so nervous. I had to drink a bunch of wine before the shoot. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my god, I'm about to get naked in front of somebody and gonna take pictures, and oh my god. Like, I was totally, and I was like, I'm not pretty enough. And then she's like, no, you're fine, you're pretty, you know. And anyway, we ended up, basically, when you get 2 lovers in a room that are naked and you're supposed to be like getting close and pretending like you're making out, you end up really doing it, you know what I mean? So, I mean, the energy was there, the fire was there. Some of the most beautiful pictures of me doing lesbian-esque acts ever, okay, from this guy. And I remember he gives you a copy of the CD after the words, and so I took it home, and I remember looking at it. And I got home and I had $150 I didn't have before, and I had naked pictures of my girlfriend that I've never had before that I thought was extremely hot, you know, and it was like, win-win, you know. I remember the next day, it was like, that was great. That was so easy. It was so fun. And we ended up getting a couple shoots with him. Sometimes, like, we do 3 girls, and I remember we did pretty things. I mean, really pretty things with I had one of those fly net things that go over your bed, you know what I'm talking about? Around the bed.
Canopy, the mesh canopy.
Mesh canopy thing goes like this. I remember doing some beautiful stuff with other girls, and I mean, there was never that same connection like there was with my girlfriend, but you know, you can get close to a body part and kind of like, you know, and I always thought it was really great that we could explore our sexuality like that and make money at the same time, you know, get compensated for our time. And so what happened was I went home and looked at those pictures, thought they were great, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're really pretty, Kat, look at that, you know. And I put some up on, did Google, and Google was really young then, modelmayhem.com, found it, ended up starting a profile, putting up some of the pictures that he took of me solo, and he took pictures of us together, and I had a friend of mine take some more pictures of me, because I was like, okay, well, this is cool, maybe I get some modeling gigs. And then all of a sudden it was like, got contacted to do some time for prints, and I was like, okay, cool. So I did a couple free shoots, and then all of a sudden I got contacted actually by 2 different companies, MMP and Charlie Chase, which both do fetish, and they asked me, one was swimming and one was or drowning, and then the other one is balloons, tickling, foot fetish, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll work with you. They're like non-nude, and I'm like, oh, okay. And at first I didn't really understand it, but then through working with them and my girlfriend, I got her involved in it too. we started making a little extra money, and it was really great. So we continued with it, and through that I actually realized that I do have a foot and tickling fetish. That is my thing. So, because it was really funny. I remember one night she was like, "You really have a tickling fetish?" I was like, "No, I don't." She goes, "No, every time you try to flirt with me, you reach over and tickle me and stuff." And I was like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "Yes, you do." And then I started to realize that that was like one of my flirting techniques, and it really kind of got me going, and like attacking her and like wrestling around like that, and it was really exhilarating. So through shooting and everything, I started doing that, and then I became a full-time model for quite a while. So, and then now it's been 10 years?
10 years, that is impressive. I noticed you really made a name for yourself in the world of wedgies also.
Yes.
How do you, now since then a lot of people have also done wedgies as well. It's obviously a thing. Have you ever noticed like maybe, has anybody ever like copycatted you or stole some kind of original idea?
Oh, definitely. I was one of the first people that I saw a market that was lacking, and I was like, you know what, this would be really fun. And I wanted to do something. I based my studio around women and the way that, you know, we are, I guess, as, you know, people. I don't want anyone to ever feel uncomfortable, and I want you to be able to explore your fetishes. Girls come here all the time and they're like, wedgies, and then they're done with them and they're like, that was really fun and that was really great. So I never want any girl to get hurt. I have heard of studios that hurt girls, and that upsets me because on many levels, we'll see it like that. I don't ever want anyone to be really hurt, but you know, I saw it lacking in the category, and I was like, you know what? And I looked up all the wedgie types first off, because I was like, okay, you know, you got to do your research about something if you're going to do it, you know? Just like there's different spots on the body that are ticklish. Of course, I've tickled so many people that I've realized, and I really like it, so you kind of get a feel for that after a while, and I can really torture some people. But wedgies, I had no idea, so I went and looked up all these wedgies, and I was like, this is great. There's an atomic wedgie, there's this and that. And so I started filming for the wedgie site, and we started trying to do different wedgies, and then me and my sister were actually working together at the time. Since then, she's now on sabbatical because babies. And she had the great idea she's like, I have these really stretchy underwear, and I was like, oh, okay. She goes, I have an idea. Hang me off the door. And I was like, what? And I was like, that's what she goes, we could do it. You gotta see. So we did it, and then I grabbed the camera because I was like, I can't believe this bitch is doing it. So that was legit. Like, all of a sudden she's there, and I'm just talking to her from behind the camera because I think it's funny, and I'm laughing my ass off at her because it's really fucking hilarious. And it seemed like then after that we started doing atomic wedgies and everything, and everyone just started buying their own stretchy underwear and doing exactly the same thing. Now I understand where everyone, you know, flattery is imitation is the finest
form of flattery.
Yes. So I understand that, but you know, it is, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, well, I wish people would come up with their own ideas, you know, like do something different. This was something that came straight from Compton, you know what I mean? Straight out of the Fox office, Atomic Wedgie Land. And that's why we focus on it so much, and we do that. I don't do any of the hanging stuff because that one can hurt. So we do it a little bit, but not so much. So I try to, you know, stay. But with my clips, I always have a conflict and a resolution, you know, is the wedgie or, you know, stuff like that. It's always conflict-based because that's where I would think a wedgie would happen, and I like that kind of slapstick comedy turn on it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, also you mentioned Google, and if you Google Catherine Foxx, a large number of entries come up for that, and most of them are all you know ads promoting you through various websites. But there are apparently sites where your videos are displayed and/or dealt with in which there is no compensation. Piracy
is a big issue.
Yeah, how do you deal with that, or do you? I mean, what goes through your mind when you discover that kind of thing?
It hurts me a lot because not trying to, I understand if you love my video, you want to share it with the world. Okay, that's fine. tell people about it, write about it in forums, but giving away my content is like stealing money from my girls' pockets. Piracy is a big issue on everybody's hashtag pay for your porn. But it's a big issue, which is why we're doing the wedgie strike right at the moment, and hopefully that will be resolved soon. You know, it's really hurtful, and I try to get it taken down. We go through the legal steps. But it's very time consuming on time that I could actually be spending editing, doing other things. So basically when you guys do piracy, you're not going to get as much content like you used to. You know what I mean? Like I can shoot, because of the umbrella that is the foxoffice.com, we shoot multiple different fetishes. And they're not all my fetishes, but they are fetishes that sell, and then but what we're doing now, we're starting up a freeze hypno type store, which will be new to supplement for the wedgies. So I'm just not going to shoot wedgies and shoot that now. So basically, because I can make the same return on income whichever way we go. So you guys are only hurting yourselves. So that's all I got to say about that situation.
Fair enough. And obviously you work with a lot of different producers and a lot of different models and whatnot. Who... in your mind, is probably the greatest producer beside yourself in the entire fetish world. The greatest, the one that you're like,
there's
they're
so
doing it
many
right.
that are so good. FTKL Tickling is fantastic. James Dark, also like Space City Souls. Of course, I love I used to work with JW Ties a lot, but he went more porn, so I backed away from. I didn't want my brand to be together with that kind of stuff, because that's not what my mission as the foxoffice.com is. And this happened 10 years ago, starting out as a model. You have no idea what's going on, you know what I mean? You're getting hired by people, and I realize now how in danger I put myself sometimes, because you're going to get naked or not get naked at somebody's house, but who knows, they could just kidnap you, tie you up, and take you away forever, you know what I mean? So I did have a system set up where I would check in with people sometimes or bring somebody with me, but that wasn't always the case. I couldn't always do that. I didn't always have someone that, was checking their phone every 5 seconds, especially, 10 years ago when technology wasn't what it was. And I actually heard of many situations, one happening to my own sister, that she got hired by this company once before for girl work, and I didn't schedule my sister's stuff, so don't think it's weird. But she did talk to me about this later on. She was scheduled down there for girl work, and she went down there, and she's 19 years old, and no, she wasn't smart. And when they hired her a second time, she went down there, didn't have any money to get home, she counted on that money to get back and to pay bills and stuff. And when she got down there, they're like, oh, well, we're not shooting girl today, but if you want to suck these two guys off, go ahead. And that's what it was 10 years ago. It was all male run, and they were able to get away with things like this. Now, with the technological age and the invention of model mayhem sites, stuff like that, where girls can cross-reference, that's less likely to happen. But 10 years ago, that happened to my sister. It happened to friends of mine, that other models that I worked with, and girls that, you get friends with these girls, they're in your life so much, and you talk to them, and sometimes we have dinners together, and we have parties, and we go to conventions, because there's a fetish con, and so we are with each other, we're shooting with each other all the time. You get genuine friendships with these people that you work with, and then all of a sudden you hear about some bad situation that they were in, and you're like, man, why do people... Of course, there's a few people that screw it up for the many, but I wanted to start a company where girls could, it's a female-led company, so they always feel comfortable walking into the studio. They never have a problem coming here, and they know anybody that I associate with will never push their limits. I had a guy, it happened to me actually once, a certain producer, and I won't say names because I'm not like that. We were doing a bondage tickling Hitachi, so I'm completely restrained like this, and he knew the rules was no penetration, no fingers, none of that, and he went for it. And thank God I had somebody there, and I kind of came up and gave her a look, and she stopped it, but it doesn't matter because you still feel violated. it still is the situation that it is. So why I wanted to start a company where girls felt okay to come in, that they didn't feel like they were going to get raped or taken advantage of or any of that stuff. That's why we focus in the non-nude arena, because girls automatically feel more comfortable when you say it's non-nude. You know what I mean? So, you know, if they decide to do nudity throughout their career with me and, you know, whatever, I could definitely shoot that. You know, I have some boobs on my side. I like the boobies. You know what I mean?
Boobs.
Don't we all love boobs? But I wanted them to feel very comfortable with that and make some money with me. Why not? Because we do focus in the non-nude arena. Of course, it doesn't make as much money as pornography, but it's still putting the fetish out there, and it's also letting these girls have a place to discover if they have these fetishes. I have so many girls that after doing foot worship scenes are like, man, I love that. That was so great. You got some girls are like, that's weird. I don't ever want to do that again. But then they do a belly button licking and they're like, oh my God, that was really kind of hot. You know, you never know what's gonna set you off. And some girls are like, well, wedgie wasn't too bad. I kind of felt good on my clit. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever. But I didn't expect that, but I'm glad that you were able to experience that with me, and that's great. So, you know, a nice, fun, safe place to explore fetish.
Yeah, good times. Well, I definitely thank you for your time sitting down with us, chit-chatting with Catherine Foxx. Good times. And I guess the moral of the story is pay for your porn and
Hashtag pay for your porn.
Pay for your porn and enjoy it.